Alright, buckle up buttercups, because we need to talk about the most awkward non-conversation in Canadian politics right now. Mark Carney just gave Alberta the equivalent of showing up to someone's birthday party, eating all the cake, and then leaving without even saying happy birthday. I'm talking zero acknowledgement, zero promises, zero anything. Alberta's been sitting here like a kid at the dinner table waiting for dessert that's never coming, and honestly, the patience is wearing thinner than Carney's answers on literally anything Alberta cares about. So here's what went down. Danielle Smith, Alberta's premier and the province's chief "we're not taking this anymore" spokesperson, actually reached out. She extended an olive branch. She basically said, "Hey Mark, we should probably talk about things like pipelines, Bill C-69, and I don't know, maybe how federal policies have been slowly strangling Alberta's economy like a boa constrictor in business casual." And Carney's response? Crickets. Radio silence. The man gave Alberta the political equivalent of leaving someone on read. Not even a courtesy new phone who dis. Now let's be clear about something. Mark Carney is positioning himself as the savior of the Canadian economy, the guy with all the answers, the golden boy who's going to swoop in and fix everything. He's been making the rounds, talking about climate action and economic transformation like he's selling the world's most expensive self-help book. But when it comes to actually addressing the concerns of a province that contributes billions to the federal coffers and keeps the lights on across this country, suddenly he's got nothing to say. It's like asking a mechanic to fix your car and having them respond by talking about their feelings on abstract art. Here's where it gets spicy. Alberta isn't asking for the moon here. The province wants to talk about pipelines, which, newsflash, are still one of the safest and most efficient ways to transport energy. They want to discuss Bill C-69, affectionately known in Alberta as the No More Pipelines Act, which has been about as helpful to Canadian energy development as a screen door on a submarine. And they want to address Bill C-48, the tanker ban that basically tells Alberta's oil that it can't leave through the west coast. Imagine being told you can't use your own front door because the neighbor doesn't like the way you walk. But Carney? He's letting Alberta stew. He's leaving the province to marinate in its own frustration like it's some kind of political slow cooker recipe. And the thing is, this isn't just about hurt feelings or provincial pride. This is about real jobs, real families, and a real economy that's been getting kicked in the teeth by federal policy for years. Alberta's energy sector employs hundreds of thousands of people directly and indirectly. These aren't just numbers on a spreadsheet. These are Canadians who wake up every morning and go to work to power this country. Meanwhile, Danielle Smith is out here doing what she does best, which is refusing to back down. Say what you want about Smith, and trust me, people have plenty to say, but the woman doesn't fold under pressure. She's been pushing back against federal overreach like it's her part-time job, except it's actually her full-time job and she's working overtime. She's called out the double standards, the lack of consultation, and the general attitude from Ottawa that treats Alberta like the annoying relative nobody wants to sit next to at Thanksgiving dinner. And can we talk about the irony here for a second? Carney's whole pitch is about unifying Canada, bringing people together, creating some kind of economic utopia where everyone holds hands and sings Kumbaya while the GDP magically increases. But you can't exactly unite a country when you're actively ignoring an entire province that happens to be a massive economic engine. That's like trying to bake a cake but refusing to acknowledge that flour exists. Sure, you can try, but you're going to end up with a mess. The frustration in Alberta right now isn't manufactured. It's not some political stunt or artificial outrage cooked up in a backroom somewhere. This is genuine anger from people who feel like they've been screaming into the void for years while being told they're the problem. Alberta's been contributing equalization payments to the rest of Canada while simultaneously being lectured about how its main industry needs to be phased out. Imagine working a job where you're the top earner in your family, you're paying everyone else's bills, and then they all sit around telling you that your job is immoral and you should quit. That's essentially been Alberta's experience. Now here's the kicker. While Carney stays silent on Alberta's concerns, he's been plenty vocal about his climate ambitions. He wants Canada to be a climate leader, wants to transition to clean energy, wants all these wonderful things that sound great in a TED Talk but require actual plans and actual conversations with the people who would be most affected. You can't just wave a magic wand and transform an entire province's economy without talking to that province. Well, you can, but that's called dictatorship, and last I checked, we're supposed to be a democracy up here. Smith isn't sitting around waiting for Carney to suddenly develop an interest in Alberta's concerns. She's moving forward with provincial initiatives, building relationships with other provinces and U.S. states, and basically doing everything she can to protect Alberta's interests despite federal roadblocks. It's like watching someone try to run a race with someone else holding onto their shirt the entire time. Sure, you can still move forward, but it would be a lot easier if people would just let go. The bigger picture here is what this says about federal-provincial relations in Canada right now. We've got a potential future Prime Minister who can't even be bothered to acknowledge the legitimate concerns of Canada's fourth largest province and one of its biggest economic contributors. That's not leadership, that's avoidance. That's sticking your head in the sand and hoping the problem goes away, except the problem is millions of Albertans who vote and have very long memories. So what's the solution here? Well, for starters, Carney could actually pick up the phone. Radical concept, I know. He could have a conversation, listen to Alberta's concerns, and maybe, just maybe, treat the province like it's actually part of this country. Even if he disagrees with Alberta's positions, even if he thinks the energy sector needs to transform, you still have to engage. You still have to show up. You still have to do the basic work of politics, which includes talking to people who didn't vote for you or might not agree with you. Meanwhile, Smith is going to keep fighting. Alberta's going to keep pushing back. And this tension between the province and federal leadership, whether it's Trudeau or potentially Carney, is going to keep building until someone actually addresses it properly. You can't ignore your way out of a provincial relationship crisis. Trust me, that doesn't work in regular relationships either. The bottom line is this: Alberta got diddly squat from Carney, and that's not sitting well with anyone west of Saskatchewan. Danielle Smith is soldiering on because that's what she does, and Alberta's going to remember this silence the next time someone from Ottawa comes around asking for support or understanding or anything else. Because here's the thing about being ignored, it tends to make people less cooperative in the future. If you found this breakdown helpful and you want to stay on top of all the Canadian political drama as it unfolds, and trust me, there's never a shortage of drama up here, make sure you're subscribed to Canadian Insights. We're dropping videos throughout the day keeping you updated on everything happening in Ottawa, the provinces, and everywhere in between. Hit that like button if you appreciate the no-nonsense takes, and drop a comment below telling me what you think about this whole Carney-Alberta situation. Is he making a strategic mistake, or is this just politics as usual? Let's talk about it.